Hi guys. Today I'm going to talk about how to not be afraid of using voice chat. This is something that has come up in a lot of video comments and chats during live streams from a lot of people. They've said stuff like, "Oh, Sarah, I love how you're doing voice chats, but I'm too afraid to use it," or "I just don't think I can do it," or "It's too much pressure. I can't be in voice chat." And I can understand that position because I felt like that when I started using voice chat. I was actually extremely nervous about it, and so I got to the level where I am extremely comfortable with it, and I know that almost everybody can too. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who can't, but probably you can. So first, I guess the most concrete thing that I can say is just try it. Just if you're nervous about voice chat, turn on voice chat, have your mic there, and just play a bunch of games where you don't know, you're not trying to say anything, you don't know what you're doing. If you feel a little bit nervous, you can try only responding to what other people say. You can say thanks, Mercy, or whatever. You can respond to what other people have said. But even if you're not comfortable with that, just play with your mic, listening and being able to say something, if you want to. And try that first. The next thing that I hear a lot from people is, "Oh, I would like to use voice chat, but I don't know any of the callouts. I don't know how to describe where the enemies are at different times. I don't know the names of places on the map." And so that's fine. It took me a long time of thinking really hard about how I could describe certain areas that would be reasonably unambiguous to other people on my team that I've never met before. So that will come in time. But when you start out, you can just pick something that's a really low level. So when I started out, the only call out I did was where the widow was, and if the widow was in a place that I could easily describe. So I would say if the widow's above the checkpoint, the second checkpoint or the first checkpoint on Dorado, Dorado attack, I can say widow above the checkpoint, and it's really easy. There's no ambiguity. Everyone knows where that is, and so carve yourself out a little small area of call out that you can do and that you feel comfortable with, and just call those out at the beginning. And if there's no widow, you just don't do any call outs that match. And if there's a widow and she's on a ledge somewhere and you have no idea how to describe it to someone, just don't do any call outs that match. Only do it when it works for you and when it's easy and when you're confident that you have something to contribute that everyone is going to value on the team. I can't tell you how many times, especially when I was new. I don't solo queue that much now because I have a lot of people that I play with, but I can't tell you how many times I would be the only person using voice chat, and I would just do 3 or 4 calls during the match, and then at the end of the game, someone would be like, "Oh, nice call outs," or "Thanks for the call outs," or "Those were great," or I'd get friend requests afterwards. And so I said in my video about how to get people to play with, how to group up with on Overwatch, that it really helps to use voice chat, and this is one reason why. Because if you're calling out where the widow is, people are really going to value you, and they're going to want to be your friend. I get friend requests all the time from people who say nice call outs. And so it's just a really good way to demonstrate your value to your team. So pick something like that, and over time you'll get more comfortable doing those callouts, and you'll realize that there are more places that you can describe, and you'll feel more comfortable with it, so you won't have to get nervous. Because when I first started, I would be like, "Oh, there's a widow up there. Should I tell them? I'd like to tell them. It would be really beneficial to my team if they knew that there was that widow up there." And then I would have to get myself all psyched up. And it's okay, you can do that. But when you've done it 100 times, you don't have to get yourself all psyched up, and you can sort of dedicate more processes to saying other things about the map that are other useful pieces of information. And so you'll eventually get good at it. It's just a skill that you can develop, and you'll feel a lot more comfortable. So the one other thing that I hear a lot is that they're afraid, people who don't want to use voice chat are often afraid that they're going to have someone be mean to them, and they don't want to just open that door and hear it. And so, I mean, you do find dicks in Overwatch. I made a video about it. It does happen, but there are a lot of things that you can do to really minimize having people be irritated at you in voice chat. You'll still occasionally get someone who's like, "Man, you suck at diva," or whatever. But that doesn't really happen very much in voice. People don't seem very comfortable insulting someone verbally. They would much rather insult them in text. So I really don't get too much of that when I'm in voice chat. But there are some things that you can do to really reduce the odds that happens. So as I go through these, it's going to sound a lot like victim blaming, "Oh, it's your fault that these people are being mean to you." It's not like that. It's not your fault that those guys are dicks. Or girls. I've had girls be dicks too. But these are things that do sort of cause you to get more grief from people, and so by avoiding these steps, it really will reduce the odds that anybody gives you crap. So the first one is being too bossy. People hate to be told what to do, and so like bossiness is in the ear of the listener. And so you can pick a threshold that seems good for you, but if you're really like nervous or uncertain about it, and you really want to keep your head down, just like don't tell anyone what to do, and it'll be fine. Instead of saying like don't go out the left spawn door, you could say like there's a widow at the left spawn door, or you could just not say anything. So like all of those are viable options. But being bossy is something that sort of causes you to be a magnet for people like criticizing you in some way. The second thing is don't be too loud. A lot of people get their mic set up and they don't really know what they're doing, and so they're like the gain is too loud on their mic. And so they're like, hi, and then it's like really loud for everybody who has headsets. And so you'll usually see like, oh, shut up, so and so, or and so I've seen that happen on a number of occasions. What you can do is you can ask, hey, I'm trying to test my mic. If you're really nervous, you can ask it in team chat, and probably someone will be happy to help you. Be like, hey, can somebody tell me if my mic is too loud? And then you can be like, test, test, and so you can do that. If you have someone who's like a friend of yours on your friend list, that's a great way to test your audio settings and make sure that they're acceptable. But that's another thing you can do to keep your head down. Third thing is, if you have an open mic, make sure you're in a quiet place and make sure that your keyboard can't be heard by everybody else on your team, because it's really, really annoying when someone has an open mic and you can hear them typing, or you can hear them coughing, or the TV in the other room, or the music, or like someone talking over there, and so that's a really great way to have someone be like kind of mean to you. And so I would encourage you, unless you're in an extremely quiet environment, to just build habits around using push to talk. The default push to talk key in Overwatch, I think, is the like tilde in the top left corner of your keyboard, and I find that to be a terrible, terrible location, at least for me. I have small hands, so I would encourage you to experiment with push to talk keys that work for you, because I think the default one isn't a particularly great choice. So that's another thing you can do. And the last thing is, one thing that really irritates people in voice chat is when someone is in voice and they're really chatty and they like say too many things. It's a lot of people don't want to talk in Overwatch, but they don't mind if other people talk as long as they're offering value. But I've seen a lot of people in Overwatch who are like, hey guys, what's your favorite new skin from the event? And like maybe you'll have a group of people who really do care about what their favorite skin from the event is, but like probably some of them aren't going to. And so if you really want to keep your head down, just make sure that 100% of the contributions that you have to chat, or to voice chat, are valuable to your team, and you aren't wasting someone's time. You aren't occupying the channel with like chatter that they don't care about. The other thing that's worth mentioning here is I know a lot of people, especially a lot of people, will have concerns that they'll get grief for being a girl. If you watch my video about the dicks of Overwatch, you will. I expand upon this point a lot more, but most of the time, if I talk in voice chat, someone will say like, "Is that a girl?" And then like that's the end of it. It mostly doesn't go anywhere. I rarely have issues with people who want to continue making jokes about it. Once, I don't know, maybe like once every 2 or 3 weeks, someone says like, "Oh, will you marry me?" Or like, "Oh, do you want to go out?" And then like, I don't know, you can just be like, "No thanks," or whatever. You can say whatever you want, as long as you aren't like outwardly hostile. Then usually it just like dies and nobody ever mentions it again. And so another thing that I've heard a lot of people comment on is if they have a voice that causes other people to ask if they're gay, or to assume that they're gay. I've seen a lot of people get grief about that, and I don't have a super good answer for that. Like sometimes that seems like that's going to happen with like the current way that the world is, and it's too bad, but that is going to happen. And so if that's something that really bothers you and you think you have a voice that's going to cause people to identify you as gay and like say stuff about it and be mean, then like I guess if you feel like that's something that you can't deal with emotionally, then maybe voice chat isn't for you, even though it's like a shame, and I wish it wasn't that way. So I guess be aware of that, but I really don't get very much about being a girl, and I guess that's about it. But I would really, really encourage you guys. I've had a lot of different people tell me that they were really nervous about using voice chat, and I've given them like some variation of this spiel for how they should try it, and a number of them have come back to me later and said like, "Oh my gosh, Sarah, that was really helpful. I use voice chat all the time now. Thank you so much for encouraging me, because it's so much better this way." So like, it really is so much better to use voice chat, at least for me and for many other people. And so even if it's outside your comfort zone, I would encourage you to just take those baby steps. Just call out the widow when she's someplace where you know that she is, and everyone will appreciate you. And you'll probably find a lot of friends and a lot of nice people, and then you can add all those nice people, and you won't have to solo queue. And then like when you have a group of like 3 or 4 of you in team chat, then like you rarely get grief from other people because they don't want to like take on the social dynamic of criticizing this group of 4 people who are sort of dominating the team. So that helps too. But anyway, I would really encourage you guys to do it. I know it's really like makes you, or probably many of you, it probably makes nervous the way it made me nervous when I first started, but it's completely worth it, and I would really encourage you to step outside your comfort zone and sort of like take the plunge and give it a try. Also, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of my Patreon supporters who contributed to my channel and this video and the other videos that I make. If you guys, if you're a new Patreon supporter and you don't see your name on this list, it's probably because I recorded this video before you guys joined, because it's current as of today. So thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. I appreciate you guys so much. And I know I say it all the time, but that doesn't mean it's insincere. So also, for those of you guys who might not be familiar with my channel, I stream Overwatch a few times per week, and you can find out where, or you can find out when, by following me on Twitter up here. I'm Overwatch Sarah, and I stream right here on YouTube. So I guess that's about it. I hope you guys feel the strength to give voice chat a try, because I really think it makes Overwatch so much more fun. It's so much better that way. So so good luck. You guys can do it. Bye.